What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Before we get started, make sure you hit that like button. It really helps me out, and helps get that content out there, which is ultimately what we want, right? So today I have a goal, and we'll see if we can meet that goal. And the goal is to get that thing out of the garage. So let's get past my tire mount in there. This thing is getting close, very, very close. And I kind of have a tuning appointment planned and scheduled, and it needs to be 100% ready to go by then. So first step today is going to be bleeding the brakes and getting some brakes working on this thing. And then after that, I need to drop the driver's side header, clearance it for my oil cooler adapter block. The header's touching one of the AN lines, so I'm going to clearance that, wrap that section of header, and then from there get the exhaust put on as best I can. It doesn't line up perfectly with the headers, so I'm going to try and hang it from the back of the car first, and then you know, push and pull and tug and whatnot to try and get it bolted up to the headers as best I can. Once that's done, I think it's time. We're going to try and get this thing out of the garage. And again, I don't know if my reverse issue was fixed. It was still giving me problems. I put the red line cocktail in there of the T56 cocktail of MTL and D4 ATF. So we'll see if the fluid makes any change, but I'm not getting my hopes up. Either way, if I have to, I'll drag this thing out of the garage with the Suburban, and I just want to see this thing potentially, you know, drive down the driveway straight. So we'll see what happens, but we're gonna get started. Morgan's gonna come out and help me in a few, and we're gonna get these brakes bled. I already started the other night. I was able to get the back right bled on my own, but we're gonna get her to come help with pumping the pedal, and we'll start back here on the left, and then we'll move up to the fronts. So let's get started. Keep our fingers crossed that today's a good day, and let's go. All right, guys, so I had the driver's side header out, and this was the area where it was hitting. So you can see I kind of flattened it down. I'm hoping that is enough to clear it. And then I also wrapped it in some header wrap just to keep the radiant heat down when it gets near there. So don't judge my header wrap jobs. I'm no pro. I realized that the struggle I was having to get these headers to bolt up to the exhaust system that's on the car was not having enough space to fit this clamp and the ball socket piece that goes into there and bolts up to the exhaust with the flange. So what I did was I cut 3 inches off of the header with a Dremel. So, you know, once again, not the neatest. I need to get a bandsaw so bad. But either way, that I think will give me more room to be able to slide this back and squeeze that ball socket in so that I can bolt it up to the exhaust. So I'm going to do it to the other side as well, and I think we should be good to try and bolt the exhaust up. But first I'm going to get this header in, make sure that this section clears my oil cooler lines, and keep my fingers crossed. If that's good, we can move on, get the exhaust on. And once the exhaust is on, it's more so just a matter of tidying up some wires, like pulling them up just so they're not dragging the ground. And then I think we can give it a shot with trying to get this thing out of the garage. So we're making pretty good progress here, and let's see, what time is it now? It's 1:40, so we still got a lot of daytime left to get this done. So let's see if it all works out. So taking a look under here, we now have a lot more space after cutting this. We have a lot more space between that and the exhaust that came on this car. So that will allow me more space to slide this guy on and get this ball socket in place, and ultimately bolt it all up, and I hope that it seals okay. I know a lot of guys complain about the sealing of these clamps, but at least for right now it'll do as far as getting the car tuned, and we can always go back to it later, because I don't plan on keeping this exhaust. I plan on going to some sort of Y pipe to a single exit out the driver's side. So let's just utilize some YouTube magic on this one and get it done. We're good, we're all tight. Got the other side mocked up, just gotta go crank it down, and we're gonna put this thing on the ground and try and give it a start and see how she does. It might be leaking a little bit from the top here, but we won't know. It might seal, I don't know. We'll find out. But either way, let's finish tightening up and get this thing on the ground. So for the first time since, I don't know, last July, the cts-v drift car is finally outside. Looks good in the sun. It's been a while. Now, as you can see, it's currently tied to Judy because reverse was working. But once I got it on the steep part of this hill, and it's probably hard to tell in the video. It's a pretty significant hill going down into this side of the garage. So once the weight of the car was really getting loaded up on it, it was popping out. We'll see what happens once that red line kind of like works its way into everything. See if it does end up getting better. I mean, the fact that it reversed as far out as it did was an improvement over before. So, you know, it could just be having good fluid in it. And with these LS2 injectors, even though the car is untuned, it is trying to find an idle. It'll hold idle for like a couple seconds and then die out. So it does make things easier. So what I'm gonna do is have Morgan give me a hand and just have her steer out while I pull with the truck and get this thing down into the driveway, and then potentially try and drive it around the block. So I'm gonna get some lug nuts. So I have 5 lug nuts on each wheel, and right now we have like 2 and 3. But get some lug nuts and just secure a couple other things, and then we'll try and take this thing for a little drive. It's untuned, so I don't expect much, but honestly, if I can just make it up the street to the cul-de-sac and then back, I'll be happy. All right, guys, first drive. It was kind of a hassle to get out of the driveway, but it's moving on its own. Kind of just coasting down the street. All right, guys, we did the old switcheroo. We got the 3000 now on this side of the garage, tucked away, and we got the V over on that side. So I just wanted to switch them around because, like I mentioned, it's easier to get out of this garage door. And I ended up running it up the hill and then just rolling her back in. And yeah, we're good. So I'm going to change the rear diff fluid. I have, actually I need to go buy some, or did I order it? I don't know. I got to look and see what I got on the shelf. I kind of forget at this point. And we're going to change the oil to the red line oil. And then I think we're going to move on to either dual caliper bracket, and I have to do the suspension bushings on the driver's side. But I also got to clean out the interior and get everything cleaned out for when it does get tuned. I got some airbags still that I have to take off, and I am going to investigate into why my driver's side window, none of my driver's side switches are working, except for the mirror. The left side mirror switch is working, but not the other sides. It might be a door module, might have failed. But otherwise, we're looking good, guys. We are looking good. I'm so hyped. It was really refreshing to see this thing outside. I mean, after months since last July, so like 8-9 months of this thing being parked right here and having the engine out of it and assembling the engine, and the fact that nothing leaks. Now, once I fix that one oil leak, nothing leaks. You know, it sounds healthy, and I'm excited, but I'm nervous for it to go to the dyno. But because it's the first time that I put a motor together, you know, I put the heads on, I installed everything, and just gonna keep my fingers crossed that everything goes well when it comes to getting put on the dyno. It's pretty much ready to go, just aside from those things I just mentioned. So thank you guys for watching this video, and Well, I also have some surprises coming, like I mentioned in the last video, suspension surprises, and we also have some over fender and body surprises coming. So stay tuned for that one. We got something cool in the works with a buddy of mine down here in Florida. We're gonna make some stuff happen. So thanks for watching, guys. Remember, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and I'll see you in the next one.